What's up everybody, it's itsMaxDigital here, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G, which I have a picture on the left, and the LG K92 5G, which is on the right. Let's take a look and see how the specs and how these phones match up. So the overall story of the Samsung Galaxy S21 5G is that it's the flagship go-to model for Samsung S21 series, and that is the most affordable one, and it starts at $800 brand new, although you could find it used for like $100-$200 less on other websites and third-party retailers. The LG K92 5G, the story of that phone in general is a more budget 5G device that could be found on prepaid or heavily discounted on AT&T. You can find this phone for as low as, like, I've seen it for $100 to $150. So you can get that phone, a 5G phone, for very, very cheap, especially if you like LG phones. So you got a nice flagship with a nice budget phone. So both of these phones obviously offer 5G, which is way faster than 4G if you have good coverage in your area. This will help you with video, download movies, less buffering. You can watch 4K if you have 5G, but LTE is not, it's still pretty good here in 2021. The S21 is an overall smaller device than the LG K92, has 6 inches of height, 2.8 inches width, 0.3 inches thick. The K92 comes in at 6.5 inches tall, a little bit over 3 inches wide, and 0.33 inches thick. So yeah, the S21 is smaller overall than the LG. And for the weight, the Samsung is also very lightweight. It's less than 6 ounces, while the LG is over 7 ounces. So a little bit more heft with the LG phone. For the build quality, both of these are typically plastic devices with the feel, although the S21 has an aluminum frame. It doesn't have that build quality of glass that typical flagship phones offer. So it's a little bit in a step back for the S21, but for the LG K92, that plastic feeling sits just right, especially at its price point. As for SIM card support, the S21 does offer eSIM, while the K92 does not have eSIM, and the difference being there is that you could put in 2 different data plans. You can have 2 different phone numbers or swap in and out as an international visitor or something like that. So you got an advantage for the S21. You get IP68 dust and water resistance up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes on the Galaxy S21. You don't have that on the LG K92, so that phone will be worthless if you dunk it in water. Moving on to the displays, the S21 has a 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED display with 87% screen-to-body ratio. You got a bigger 6.7-inch display LCD IPS on the K92. So you get an overall bigger screen on the LG K92, but it comes in at a little bit less screen-to-body ratio, so a little bit more bezels, with 84% screen-to-body ratio on the LG K92. As for resolution, both of these devices are 1080p screens. You get 421 ppi in the S21, and you get 393 ppi on the LG K92. Both are good, but the S21 is just a little bit superior. For the software, the S21 has Android 11 with Samsung One UI on top, and the LG K92 has Android 10, so you got a more updated Android experience on the S21, but there's not too many differences. It's just in the matter of preference with the skins. You get Samsung versus LG skin. For the processors, the Samsung Galaxy S21 has the very powerful Snapdragon 888, the best-in-class processor, while the LG has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 690 5G. Obviously, the Snapdragon 888 is the beast compared to the 690, but for everyday apps and everyday activities, both of these phones will handle it no problem. You'll just see it in more heavy intensive apps. You'll see the S21 tackle that better, or with video editing, but for most people they won't see the difference. For internal storage, the S21 starts off at 128 gigs. Same thing with the LG, it also has 128 gigs. But the advantage goes to the LG because that one has a micro SD card slot, while the S21 does not. The flagship does not have that advantage of getting more storage, but you could do that on the more budget LG K92, so a big win for that one. As for the RAM, the S21 starts off at 8 gigs, while you have 6 gigs on the LG. Both of these amounts of RAM are perfectly okay for most people. You'll see this later on down the line. If you start using a lot more apps, you may reach a difference, but honestly, most people, unless they're running 100 apps all the time, you won't see them seeing any apps crash or close or anything like that for the most part. Moving on to the camera setup. The back of the S21 has 3 cameras, 12 megapixel main, 64 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide. While you get 4 cameras on the LG K92. You get a 64 main camera, 5 megapixel ultra wide, and then 2 worthless cameras, which I call useless, is the 2 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth. Those you really won't use that much. Both of these phones are going to offer quality pictures and videos, although you're going to be super impressed by the best in class in the S21. LG K92 will be perfectly fine. It won't impress you, but you'll be okay with it. You'll be happy with a quick snap and uploading it to social media or sending a video to your friends or something like that. You can shoot up to 8K with the Samsung S21, which is a little bit of overkill. It takes up a lot of storage as well. While you get 4K on the LG K92, so the LG is not slacking really. 4K is pretty good as well, although I don't see a lot of people taking video either in 8K or 4K for the most part. I think people will be satisfied with both of these cameras in the back. As for the selfies, you get a 10 megapixel camera on the S21 shooting at 4K, which is awesome. You could see the budget LG K92 slacking a little bit, but it has a 16 megapixel front shooter, which shoots in 1080p. But for the price, it seems perfectly reasonable. Both of these phones are rocking stereo speakers, but the S21 does not have a headphone jack, while the LG K92 does. So if you have your pair of headphones, you want to connect it to your car with an aux cord or plug in some microphones, you could do that on the LG K92 without a lot of trouble. For Bluetooth, you have 5.0 on the S21, while you get 5.1 Bluetooth on the LG K92. And both of these phones will be perfectly good for hooking up your wireless devices like wearables such as your smartwatch, your headphones, your speakers, anything like that. These devices will hook up just fine with them. Both of these phones are rocking NFC, and that's usually reserved for making payments on your phone. And they both have USB Type-C, a very underrated port because it's the same port found on a lot of other non-phone devices such as Chromebooks, MacBooks, Windows PCs, Android tablets, iPads, headphone chargers and stuff like that. Headphone, anything, a lot of different peripherals that you could use the USB Type-C plug. For unlocking these devices, they use fingerprint readers, but on the S21 you get a under the display ultrasonic, which works perfectly fine. And on the LG K92 you also get a fingerprint reader, but is on the side of the phone. Both of these are, they do their job. They open your phone, nothing too special here. You got a little bonus feature. You got Samsung DeX on board for the S21. That'll enable you to hook up a display and use the phone as a desktop operating system. Last but not least is the batteries, very important feature in the phone. And both of these phones offer 4,000 milliamp batteries. And for 5G, that's a little bit low. That's the bare minimum I believe any phone should have nowadays, is 4,000 milliamps. But with 5G on board, I would like to see at least 5 or even 6,000 milliamps, because there's a lot of other budget phones that have bigger batteries as one of their top features. Especially if you're going to be on 5G a lot, you'll definitely want battery life. I'm going to say you'll barely get through the day with both of these devices, but they offer fast charging on both of these, and you get reverse wireless charging and fast wireless charging on the S21. You don't have any of that extra stuff on the LG phone. So what are my thoughts on both of these devices? Well, obviously the S21 is the best of the best of Android phones. It has everything under the sun. If you're looking for, the best of the best, the Samsung S21 has it. It has the very nice processor. It has the badass camera system. It has eSIM. It has the ultrasonic fingerprint reader in the front. It has all the good stuff that you're looking for in a flagship phone. And they brought down the price from $1,000 on the S20 to $800 on the S21. But it does have some things that are missing that's available on the LG K92. You get micro SD card slot. You get a little bit bigger screen on the LG K92. You have you got a headphone jack. You have some things on there, especially the price. You're gonna get all of this for like I said, you can get it on prepaid for like as low as $100. So you can get like 8 of these phones for the S21. But I digress. Both of these phones are gonna be great for 99% of people and their daily activities. YouTube, WhatsApp, Telegram, email, YouTube TV. The processor on the S21 and the amount of RAM will handle apps a little bit better, just a few of them. The very intensive gaming apps or maybe a little bit of video editing is better suited on the S21, while you might hesitate on the LG K92. But that has been my opinion on both of these devices and the comparison and specs of the Samsung Galaxy S21 and the LG K92. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.